Greetings, my fellow hunters, and welcome again. Today we're going to be doing a first impressions of an anime I have recently watched, and bear with me because the title is a sentence long. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated into an aristocrat. Yes, I know, a long name for a title that I guarantee you is self-explanatory, honestly. But anyway, my hunters, as I always say, let the hunt begin. So, this anime is basically about the world's greatest assassin from our world, hint hint, that gets reincarnated into a noble family of assassins. Yes, that's basically it. And a goddess, basically from their world, has basically ordered him to assassinate the hero of the world before 18 years are up, because by the 18th year, he has to basically prevent the end of the world. So, yes, so the hero isn't the hero, the hero is the assassin. I give credit for originality. It is fresh air that I can at least enjoy a series where the main protagonist isn't overpowered from the very beginning. Ish, because he is, well, you see, before he was reincarnated, he was allowed to choose his special skills and what magic elements he will use. Chose four, by the way. And as of this series, he's got quite a bit of mana pool, but thankfully he had to train, but it doesn't help that he also has his past life, so he kind of knows a lot about assassination techniques already. And the fact that, well, how do you expect when you have someone from our world to a fantasy world? He's going to bring some things that are not yet invented, or would never be invented unless he probably went there. So yes, in my honest opinion, this is just partly generic in the sense it's partly got some original ideas. Everything else, on the other hand, is just generic. And honestly, the first episode kind of made me wonder, is this a harem-ish sort of thing? Not saying it's a harem, but it feels like it's going to be a harem. I don't know why. It just feels like that. I don't know. I guess when the main protagonist is surrounded by cute girls, they're gonna have harem syndromes pop up sooner or later. And the fact he's very powerful doesn't help the fact with that one. Honestly, I really wish there was more to talk about, but because it's so generic, I have not much to talk about on my first impressions as to the fact that the hero's an assassin. Not the hero, the hero of the story. Anyway, before I screw this up anymore, let's move on to the characters. As this series is still quite early in its uh, publication in terms of the anime, I'll be only talking about two of the characters so far because two of the main characters have been, how do I say, announced or basically shown in the series. And that frankly actually lightens my load, but at the same time, I have very little to talk about them, so it's gonna be a quick one. So, first up, we have the main protagonist himself, Luthtuade. I think that's how his name is pronounced, because I'm not going to even try to fix that. Ugh. Anyway, he was originally a master assassin from our world until he was, as I said before, betrayed by his organization, and then a goddess plucked his soul and ferried it off to a fantasy world, you know, the typical Isekai thing. Anyway, he was tasked with killing the demon with the hero, blah blah blah. I already explained this in the story, so I need not repeat myself here. And overall, despite how in his past life a grumpy old assassin didn't know how to have a good laugh, in his new reincarnated form, he actually knows how to be a good child. He actually had a pretty, from what we see, in a good childhood, loving parents. Sure, his father had to train him to be an assassin, but not the worst thing that's ever happened to a child in isekais or other fictional stories. So take it what you will. He's basically average. And that's saying something for isekai protagonists. He's not some bumbling idiot. He's not some buffoonic with huge lucks. He actually has skills with him. Sure, he had to cheat a little bit because a goddess gave him all those skills, but nonetheless, he has skills. So I'm not sitting there just thinking, oh boy, what some overpowered MacGuffin is he going to pull out of his metaphorical hat? Thankfully, that doesn't happen much as of now. Sure, he basically has powers that allow him to do things that I really, really wish he didn't, but that's my personal complaint. Otherwise, I'm not doing with the characters. But character-wise, he's fine. And for an isekai, that's saying a lot since I watched a lot of them. Ugh. Ugh. So, next up we have the other protagonist that was introduced, Dia Vekone. And magic users. Brief discussion on her character, that's just about it. And honestly, she's supposed to be also the teacher to Luke, but that kind of goes a bit shaky upon the first episode of introduction of her because she didn't know things that he kind of guessed that actually worked, and it kind of made me really question who's the teacher here, because you could argue that it's a good way of back and forth of them learning from each other, but at the same time it feels like what's the point of having a teacher if she's going to learn some new things? True, there's always the saying that a good teacher learns from their students, but I don't know. It's just more of my personal bugbeef. But besides that, her personality is fairly straightforward. Like I said, not much to talk about since there's not much to talk about right now. So, the animation of this series, I'd argue, is very solid. It's thankfully not overcomplicated in its designs, and there are quite a few highlights that I kind of enjoyed, like the example of the magic that's presented in the series. It's very bright, explosive, and very colorful, and it gives an essence of a realistic. I like. I think this has some of the best fire effects I've seen in an anime in quite a while, in my humble opinion as a hunter who uses such techniques to hunt beasts. I overall think it's a great strength of its animations. It's pretty decent. It's entertaining. It doesn't leave any eyesores, and it's bright and colorful, which I could say a lot is quite pleasing to the eye. So I have very little to complain on the animation. I couldn't see any flaws, and if there was, I wasn't really noticed it, or it just flew past me. So yeah, in my honest opinion, I think the animation is a pretty solid adventure. About the music, it's a bit hit or miss for me. I like the opening and its visuals because let me give you a be frank, it's a really trippy experience with all the visuals, and the music does give that really, like, the artist was certainly on something when he was making the music. So it has that catchiness that actually stuck to me. And the ending, meh, in my opinion. That's the best description I can give it to it because I'm having a hard time following it right now. But I think that the music is fine. It does its job. It's generic music that just fills in the gaps between the whole situation. So I really can't have much of the complaint front. Had it been bad, I would have had something to complain about. But since it's okay, I'm just going to scoot past this section because honestly, it has a lovely orchestral soundtrack to it, but frankly, it's just so bland I can't even remember a single moment of it that's not worth committing to my memory. So yeah, besides the opening, which is a very good and very catchy, everything else is kind of meh. So, do I give my recommendation to view this anime? And my answer is I don't know. Now, I'm going to be a little tirade here. This is connected to my problem. That this is just another isekai that I am reviewing. And I've reviewed so many isekais on this channel that I don't know if it is really worth me recommending it. Sure, it has an interesting premise. It's not basically overpowered hero. Well, not all the way because the guy's an assassin, but besides that, it's difficult for me to recommend this series. If you like the premise and description, then that's fine. But if you don't, then I don't know what to say. This is only one of honestly up to you guys. If you want to watch it, you be my guest. I wouldn't say it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's not the worst series I've seen. I think that answer goes to a few others. But honestly, if you want to watch it, I'll give you my recommendation. Yes, but unless you're sick of isekais, then no, because it's just going to be more of the same. So that's my honest opinion. Yes, if you like isekais and are not tired of it, and no, if you are tired of isekais and don't want to watch it. That's the best I could do. Take with my opinions what it's worth. It's everything I can do for now. Anyway, my hunters, thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below if you think I was being harsh on this new anime, or maybe I should continue watching it. Let me down below in the descriptions if you think so. Follow me my Twitter if you want to keep up with my updates. Link to my Patreon is down below if you want to catch my videos early, because even a euro a month could help me quite a bit. And if you feel so generous, do donate, like I said. Follow me on my Twitch, as I do stream Sundays and Tuesdays from now on. This will be my permanent schedule for until the foreseeable future, unless I have to modify it in any way, as I am streaming some fun games right about now. And at time of this recording, this time, so don't take this as future reference, I'm currently streaming Chrono Trigger. Very good game, by the way. Who knows, maybe we'll do a review on that one. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, as it's always fun doing this, and like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. I'm pretty want to get to 200 subs. It took me a while, but I want to get from 100 to 200 soon. Anyway, as I always say, may the good blood guide your way.